good success. Today, I will hear the living word of God. My mind is alert. My heart is receptive. And I'll never be the same again. This is my Bible. I believe the words that are written therein. While you're turning to the 13th chapter of Numbers, let me say Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers. Amen. Let's just celebrate them while you're turning. Amen. Thank God for each and every one of you. And I encourage you, no matter what the relationship may or may not be with your children, I encourage you to keep working at it. Hallelujah. I am a witness that if you keep working at it, God will work it out. Hallelujah. I celebrate you. I'm probably going to put a post up later today encouraging fathers because my heart is sickened by the kind of things that I see on social media berating men. Listen, women, I don't think there's any bitter women here this morning, but if you are, just let a spiritual father talk to you for just a second. Your child didn't pick your baby's daddy. That's right. You picked him. And if he ain't no good now, he was no good when you picked him. And if you keep calling him no good, he'll always be no good. If you want anything to change, sometimes you got to speak something different out of your mouth. You ain't going to get one extra dime by belittling that man on social media. We've got to learn how to lift people up. So if he's not doing what he's doing, there's somebody somewhere who is. And instead of spending all your time on social media pulling a brother down, find a man who is the kind of man that you think needs to be celebrated and celebrate him without the shame. Can we just try that? So I'm going to put a post up later so that I can encourage some brothers who at this point have done the best they know how, and maybe if some men like me come alongside them and help them, we can make them better men. Is there anybody that believes we can actually make better men? Hallelujah. So all the brothers here, whether you're doing your whole job, half of your job, or none of your job at all, I still salute you because I believe that no matter where you are, there's still better in you, and better is coming out of you in Jesus' name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I get up at around 6 o'clock every Saturday morning. Y'all know I ain't a morning person. To shake the bands of to shake the shackles of sleep and meet with a band of brothers in a quest for authentic manhood. Man, I'm so tired of hearing Pastor Stacy Parson say that. I don't know what to do because I be sleep, man. But I get up and do it every Saturday morning because at my age, because I look good. My wife said I look good. Because at 63 years old, looking good, I'm still in a quest for authentic manhood. Because I teach men how to be men, but I'm still going someplace where I can learn. Hallelujah. Glory to God. All right, Numbers 13. Hallelujah. I'm trying to get it all in now. I'm trying to get it all in. Thank you for those who prepared for us this morning. We had a wonderful fellowship this morning. Thank you for all of that. For all of you who have given me cards already and wished me a happy Father's Day, I am honored to be your spiritual father. And I pray that God gives me strength in my body so that I can continue to do so for many years to come. Numbers 13, verse 26. If you're there, say amen. Amen. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Thank you, sir. Then they told him and said, we went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome." You can be seated in the presence of the Lord. I want to talk this morning very briefly from the subject, we are well able. We are well able. Jason, if you give me just a tad bit more, amen. We are well able. So, when I was a little boy, I remember my mama teaching me the words to a song that I later found out had been recorded by old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. It surprised me when I found out that Frank Sinatra had recorded it, because this particular song seems like a departure to me from what he normally did, because, you know, Blue Eyes, he sang them sappy love songs, and all the women crooned. Y'all do know that crooning didn't start with the Temptations. But anyway, the song was a bit of a departure, and I was surprised to find out that Frank Sinatra was the first one to record it. But I still have never forgotten the song. I want to share it with you. Maybe somebody taught it to you. You probably don't know the first part though. So, next time you're found with your chin on the ground, there's a lot to be learned, so look around. Just what makes that little old ant think he'll move that rubber tree plant? Anyone knows that an ant can't move a rubber tree plant. But he has high hopes. He's had high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky. Oh, Lord. So anytime you're getting low, instead of letting go, just remember the ant. Oops, there goes another rubber tree plant. My mama used to sing that song to try to teach me a valuable lesson. And to be perfectly honest, I thought it was a kid's song. I didn't know that Frank Sinatra had recorded it, which just says that I may have considered it when I was a childish song, but the reality is that the lesson behind it is a lesson that us grown folk need to learn. It's the lesson that the legendary founder of the Ford Motor Company, Mr. Henry Ford, learned at some point in his illustrious career of monumental failures leading to monumental successes.
That's right.
Henry Ford said, and I quote, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right."
That's real.
Wow.
Just take a moment to digest that. Just take a moment. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. In other words, Henry Ford is saying that everything around you is going to agree with what you think about yourself. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Your ability to do, your ability to have, your ability to be is determined not by circumstance, not by happenstance, but by the resolute stance you determine to take. In other words, you are able if you believe you are able. Come on.
That's good.
So this morning, this is the third message in our summer series, and our summer series is called SHAPE. And we've learned over the past 2 Sundays that SHAPE is an acronym for spiritual gifts, heart, abilities, personality, and experiences. And so last Sunday we talked about matters of the heart. The Sunday before we talked about the fact that you are gifted beyond measure. Today we're talking about abilities. Abilities. Somebody say ability.
Abilities.
Yeah. Every one of you here has certain God-given abilities. There are things that you are able to do. Nobody, I said nobody, is here on the planet who is not able to do something. I just saw a story on the news this week about a young man who had been in a very tragic car accident, and after the accident the doctors said that he would never be able to function, but through faith and determination that young man is mobile today. You have to listen well to his speech sometimes, but he can talk, amen. And I don't know if you've ever been around anyone with a severe speech impediment, but God will train your ears. So the longer you're around him, the easier it is to understand him. So he can communicate, and they had him on the news because they were celebrating the fact that he just got his first job, and somebody is paying him. I forgot what it is. He's working at Walmart or Target or something like that. But he's being paid because he was determined not to allow his handicap to convince him that he was not able to do something. I believe I need to say that again. He was determined not to allow his handicaps to convince him that he was not able to do something. Right. Most of us lead with our infirmities. Oh, I just said something like that. I said most of us lead with our infirmities. We get up every morning thinking about what we can't do. We check our body to figure out what part ain't working right, and try to use that as an excuse for not getting into work. Baby, you better go ahead and hobble on that bad knee and go and sit up under that desk. And if you want your knee to stop hurting, every 30 minutes, get up, walk around the desk, and sit back down. But as long as you allow handicaps to keep you from doing what let me say it another way. As long as you allow what you perceive yourself unable to do to prevent you from doing what you can do, you'll never get anything done. Hallelujah. So everybody has abilities. Abilities should not be confused with spiritual gifts. Your spiritual gifts are the supernatural endowments that you have from God. Your abilities are the unique set of skills and the aptitude you possess that allow you to operate in your gifts. For example, Chris stepped out for a moment, but Chris has been given the gift of music. Music is his spiritual gift, but he expresses that gift through his ability to play drums, his ability to play bass, his ability to play keyboards. Hallelujah. So he has the gift, but he had to utilize his abilities in order for his gift to shine through. You all, when you look at Chandra, you don't know why Chandra functions like she does, but that's why I'm your spiritual father, because I can look at you and identify gifts. Chandra has the gift of hospitality. And so, see, y'all think her gift is cooking. No, baking is not her gift. Baking is her ability. Her gift is the gift of hospitality, and she uses her baking to be hospitable to people, which is why they couldn't keep her on housekeeping at the hotel, because people could not see her gift shine through. While she was working a mop or a broom, they had to put her behind the counter so that she could engage with people, so that her gift would shine through. Because she has the ability to smile at people and make their day better. She has the ability in the midst of a stressful situation to look you in the eye and say, well, we're going to fix it. Everything's going to be all right. And you actually believe it. It is the gift of hospitality, but she uses her abilities so that her gift shines through. And God, all of us, I should say, have the ability to do certain things well. And our abilities will always complement our gifts. Amen. But I need you to understand that your abilities don't matter unless and until you are confident that you are well able. That's right. You got to be confident in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Come on. You got to walk in confidence when others are cowering in fear.
Yes, Lord.
You got to be willing to talk about what you can do when you know full well that the odds are stacked against you getting it done. You got to be able to look at all the naysayers and the scaredy cats. You got to be able to look them right in the eye and declare with boldness, we are well able.
Well.
The background for this morning's text is that after 400 years of bondage under the heavy hand of the Egyptians, God has raised up Moses to be the vessel he uses to deliver them, to deliver the children of Israel from their captivity. Now, this is after the 10 plagues have been visited on the Egyptians. This text comes after he led the Israelites across the Red Sea, after he tells Moses to take a tree and throw it into the bitter waters of Marah so that the waters become sweet, after God rains down bread from heaven, after he gives them water from the rock, after Mount Sinai, after the 10 commandments. They are now camped out in the wilderness of Paran. And the Lord has spoken to Moses and tells Moses, I want you to get 12 spies, one spy from every tribe. And I want you to send them into the land of Canaan, the land I told you I would give you. I want them to see what awaits you in the promise. That's it. It's good when somebody missed it, but I got to keep moving. And the Bible says that they went into the land, 12 of them. And they stayed in the land for a good amount of time. And when we get here to chapter 13, they've come back. They have returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Somebody say 40 days.
40 days.
It's already, I ain't got time. If we hadn't started so late, I really want to talk to you about the significance of the number 40. You know, it rained 40 days and 40 nights. 40 is a significant number in Scripture. So they spied out the land for 40 days. And they come back and they have this conversation with Moses and the children of Israel. They begin saying stuff like this. So we went to the land where you sent us. And everything God said about it is true. Holy Ghost, fix that before this service is over. Everything you said, glory to God. Everything you said about it is true. It is truly a land that flows with milk and honey. Canaan was such an abundant land that all the fruit, y'all know how you go to the store nowadays. Well, you young folk, and I'm not picking with you, you just ain't never seen it. See, young folk, they go to the store and they see these oranges that's the size of grapefruits and they get excited. I go to the store and I see oranges the size of grapefruit and I say there's something wrong with that. But they don't grow trees like that unless you're going to fill them up with something. You know, young folk go to the store and they get excited when they buy a chicken leg and the chickens look like turkey legs. But I know that's because you pumped something up in that chicken that made that chicken that big. And if the chicken couldn't get rid of it, I probably can't get rid of it either. Anyway, that's your little health message. Hallelujah. 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 Since I went there, just let me throw this in. As your income begins to increase, some of y'all look at some of us and you think we bougie. We're not bougie. We want to live a long time. As your income starts to increase, Stop shopping in the hood. And I don't mean no harm, but go to some Whole Food stores, go to some natural stores where you can get real food. Hallelujah. It ain't gonna be big. Hallelujah. I picked up some food for Destiny and Trey yesterday at Captain Jay's, and the man was looking at him, put his chicken wings in the box, and he said, "Oh, that's them little bitty chicken wings." And I wanted to say to him so bad, dude, that's actually real chicken. That's what real chicken is like. And I really tried to help him out, but I couldn't get within 3 feet of him because I was afraid that I was going to leave with the smell of weed on my clothes. So I just stayed away from him. But anyway, let me get back to talking about what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about? I agree with you, Bishop.
Close your mouth. This is my sermon. You ain't got to preach it. This Hallelujah. So,
I love it. Go ahead.
but in the land of Canaan,
Come on now.
all of the fruit was bigger than normal, and it was natural. So there was grapes the size of strawberries, and strawberries the size of peaches, and peaches the size of apples, and apples the size of oranges, and oranges the size of grapefruit, and grapefruits as big as your head, and everything was in abundance. And they came back and they said, "Man, it's just like God told us. It is a land that flows with milk and honey." Nevertheless, it's right there. It's right there in verse 28. They say it truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, what is nevertheless? Absolutely. Nevertheless is nothing but a sophisticated word for but. Somebody gonna get mad at me right here, but I'm gonna say it.
Get mad.
When we are not confident in our abilities, we often allow our butts to get in the way of our blessings. Are you the kind of person that every time an opportunity presents itself, you respond with a but?
Yes.
It's a good job, but I probably could go back to school, but since they ain't really listening to me, I can slip some stuff in this morning. I know I prayed for a saved man, but I really want a little bit of thug in him. You need to make up your mind. Now I know who listens, that's all. How many of us are cutting off our blessings with our butts? I see the evidence of the promises of God. I can look at the promised land, and here's the kind of stuff that's waiting for me over there. But they had some pretty good ones. But the people are strong. The cities are fortified. The descendants of Anak are there. The descendants of Anak were like giants. Goliath was a descendant of Anak. The Amalekites are there. The Hittites are there. The Jebusites are there. The Canaanites are there.
But
But I graduated from public school. But I ain't got no transportation. But I don't want the people in my family thinking I'm funny acting. But I'm too old to try that now. But I don't know how I'm going to.
Come on.
Somebody said, kill the buzz. And so, the text says, as I hurry on that, there's 10 of these guys. And they're talking to Moses and the children of Israel, and they're spending more time talking about the problems than they are talking about the promise. Am I helping anybody here? Do you spend more time talking about your problems than you do God's promises? Every time something pops up, do you start by trying to look for everything that can go wrong? Does opportunity fall in your lap and you look at it and say, who can I call and tell them about this?
Yes.
Missing the fact that it may be the opportunity for you.
Yes, Lord.
But it says you gotta have a degree, and I don't have the degree. My wife will tell you, I ain't never let that bother me.
That's right.
Got that right.
I fill out the application, pray over it, and say, God, all I want is an interview.
Right.
That's right.
That's right. Come on. That's happened.
I don't mean no harm. But there ain't never been a season where I started interviewing and I didn't get a job.
Amen.
And I go for jobs that I am not qualified for. The job I'm in right now, as the faith-based program manager for Crime Stoppers in Michigan, you're supposed to have a degree from a theological seminary. I don't.
That's right.
When I went for the first interview and the president of Crime Stoppers looked at me, he says, I'm looking at your application. I think the only reason that you're here is because you were recommended by Bishop Van. And I said to myself, no, that's not the only reason I'm here, but that works for you. He said, because you don't meet all the criteria. I said, you're talking about the educational criteria? He said, yes. I said, our conversation just started. 45 minutes later, 45 minutes from now, you look me in the eye and tell me I'm not an educated man. He looked up from the application and looked at me, and I know what he was thinking. This nigga crazy. And I looked him right back in the eye because I wanted him to hear me saying, yes, I am. See, you cannot lead with your infirmity. You cannot cut yourself off from your promises because there are problems in your way. Let me get back to my notes. You make it too easy for the devil. He ain't even got to really do nothing to you. All he got to do is show you the possibility of a problem and you run the other way. Somebody, yeah. Instead of looking at the possibility of a problem, you need to look at the possibility of a promise.
Hallelujah.
Instead of thinking that you're about to break down, you need to say, I'm about to break through.
Hallelujah.
Somebody that's getting this, high five somebody around you and tell them, hey, I'm coming up out of this. I just felt it. You felt that? I just felt something. I said, I'm coming up out of this. Something ready to change for me. Because I am well able.
6 figures.
God is these calls. What you say? What you say, John?
6 figures.
You said 6 figures.
6 figures.
What that got to do with what I'm preaching?
That's why I'm headed.
That's where you're headed.
I can believe I can receive.
I can believe it, I can receive it. I see 6 figures. 6 figures. This is my sermon. Be quiet. I need you, for all our visitors, I know I'm different. That's why you're going to come back again, because you're tired of that other stuff. You want somebody that's real. I'm as real as it gets. I need you to understand that this ain't about me, it's about you. Why did I let it do it? Because he getting it. If you start getting it, I'll let you preach with me too. I need somebody to understand. I am well able.
Yes.
So,
Faithful God.
Speak it.
Yes.
so they go through all their changes. And Caleb starts to talk. First thing the scripture says is that Caleb quieted the people. Some of y'all got too much noise around you. Okay, I don't even know why I bother putting those together. You got too much noise around you.
Come on, sir.
Some of y'all need to tell some people to be quiet.
Come on, sir.
We try to teach our children, never tell anybody to shut up, that's rude, but you can tell them to be quiet.
Right.
Make sure you put the T on the end, be quiet. I don't know what it is about us as black people, but when we put that T on the end, that's better than the exclamation point. Be quiet. Period. You got way too many voices in your head.
Tell me, Bishop.
Please don't get mad at me, but I gotta say it because I'm trying to help the people on the road with you, okay? Please stop listening to broke people. Stop listening to disgusted people. Stop listening to depressed people. Stop listening to people who have nowhere to go and nothing to do every day. Stop listening to people who are sitting up in somebody else's house playing somebody else's video game while somebody else goes to work to put food in their belly. You listening to the wrong people. People who don't have nothing and don't want nothing can't help you get nothing. Be quiet.
Period.
Caleb quiets the people.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord.
And then he said, let us go up at once. I saw you, friend. You caught that. Yeah. No conversation.
Nah.
Let's go. Don't think about it. We don't need to call a church meeting. Let's go.
Come on.
Watch this, Trina. We don't even need to call a prayer meeting. We should have been praying already. Let's go.
That's it, Bishop. That's
Work it.
Let's go up at once.
Come on.
Now.
Yes. Yes.
Paul saw a vision of a man of Troas in the night saying, come over to Macedonia and help us. And immediately, after he had seen the vision, immediately we endeavored to go, assuredly gathering that the Lord had called us for to preach the gospel to them. That's a whole other passage of scripture. It's in the New Testament, but the same principle. The principle is that everybody don't get a word.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
Keep it moving.
But if anybody get a word, then everybody needs to go.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good.
How do we know? How do we know that that's the word of the Lord?
Yeah.
Everybody trying to help me preach this word. You trying to spirit by the spirit. That's together. How do we know it's a word from the Lord? Is it challenging you to do something bigger than you?
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
Is it easy?
No.
That ain't probably him. Caleb says,
Thank you.
let us go up at once and take
Yes.
possession.
Yes.
Now, you got to understand a little bit about Hebrew, people. And I know people don't study Hebrew because only biblical nerds do that. So I want to help you. The word possession The phrase to take possession means that you already have ownership.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord.
In Hebrew, you take possession
Of what's yours.
of what is already yours.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jason, I'm gonna have to go to this one because I don't think they hear me, man. Listen, you got to take possession of what's already yours. There's some stuff that belongs to you that you ain't put your hands on yet. There's a house that belongs to you that you ain't seen yet. There's a car that belongs to you that you haven't driven yet. There's a desk that belongs to you that you haven't sat at yet. There's a storefront that belongs to you and you haven't signed a deal yet. But all you gotta do is rise up and take possession.
Yeah. That's it.
So we are well able.
Yeah.
So
You got it.
I'm so far past my time. Okay, so
Jeez.
we get to those. So let me fast forward you. Well, no, I got to stay there for a minute. So Caleb makes this speech. He says we're well able. But then the other 10 start talking. And they convince, watch this, because they scared, that's the other people you need to tell to be quiet. All the scared people in your life. Because they're scared, they make all of Israel scared. Look at this. Look at this. And I'm going to jump over to the end and we're going to be done. I can't skip that. All right. So these other 10, they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land, which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people we saw are men of great stature. There, listen to this, there we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak. And we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes. And so we were in their sight. Watch me there. We saw the giants. And based upon who they were, we made an evaluation about who we are.
Jesus.
And since I got a whole church preaching with me, I actually love this. You know, most pastors would be so intimidated by this, but this is awesome. Comparison kills confidence. Stop comparing yourself to other people. They evaluated themselves based upon what they saw of other people. And their evaluation was negative. They say, we saw ourselves. Did nobody call you grasshopper?
Come on.
Did nobody tell you you couldn't do it?
Come on.
You looked at the people that you thought was doing it, and you decided that you couldn't be them. And so you told yourself that you couldn't do it. Because you seeing them at the end of their game, and you at the beginning of yours. I guarantee you they didn't look at the start like they look at the end.
That's right. Wow. Know the whole story.
And that's why studying history is important. Abraham Lincoln was one of the greatest presidents this country ever had. Do you know that the only office Abraham Lincoln ever got elected to was president? He ran for the mayor of his city. He lost.
Yes, he did.
He ran for whatever we call it our city council. But they had a group like that back down there in Springfield. He ran for that. He lost.
Wow.
He tried to be the county assessor. He lost. He ran for governor of his state and for senate, and he lost. And after all them losses, he said, I think I'll run for president. Are y'all hearing me? in our own eyes. And so we were in their sight.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
They're agreeing with you.
That's right.
Lord, help.
Exactly right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All my young people over here, some of them scare me a little bit. They give me that look. I'm going to come over here and talk to y'all. Y'all stay quiet. They're agreeing with you.
Absolutely.
I can't say that, Holy Ghost. I'm going to go back into my notes.
Right.
They didn't start calling you trifling. You started calling you trifling. They agreeing with you.
Hallelujah.
You identified yourself with the no good crew before anybody put it on social media that you were no good. Okay. Caleb says, let us go up once, for we are able. And then the people said, no, we not. And all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried. And the people wept that night.
My God.
I'm so sick and tired of people crying in the face of the promise. I don't know what to do.
Jesus.
And yes, it's true. The older I get, the less patient I seem. Because I don't know how much more time I got to try to get you into your promise. So dry your face and get up. Somebody say, Bishop, that's hard. I'm trying to love you tonight. Quit crying. Let's go. Congregation lifted up their voice and cried, wept. The children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron. And the whole congregation, listen to this, said to them, if only we had died in the land of Egypt. Or if only we had died in this wilderness. Since I'm fully in teaching mode, I'm going to just slow down and teach. Cut the drama. Cut the drama. Some of y'all need to stop watching TV for about a month. So that you can stop acting like the people on TV. They're getting paid to be dramatic. You are. Whoa. They're getting paid to be dramatic. You are cutting off your payday. Cut the drama.
Cutting it off.
Here lately, I'm not on Facebook nearly as much as I used to be. But here lately, you know, it used to be a time I'd see somebody on Facebook and they'd be like, oh my God, and they'd be, all the stuff they do. And I would, go on Messenger, oh baby, what's wrong? I look at it now, I'll be like, Lord, deal with that. Because I ain't doing that.
No, don't feed it.
No. Whatever you feed, that's what'll grow.
That's right.
Social media is not the place for you to be having a breakdown. People who have breakdown on social media are trying to get attention. You'll get there, so you ain't gonna get mine. No, I ain't doing it. You want my help? Call. Have your Bible when you call. That's right. I'm going through. Do you know I had somebody about 3 weeks ago say to me, Bishop, I don't even know how, but I don't want to hear that right now. What you call me for? I don't even know how. But this is my life I'm talking about. I said, this is your life I'm talking about you too. I ain't got nothing for you but work. So, okay, I got to read it. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm the bishop, you pastor. I'm coffee. You know coffee. All right. We'll talk when we get home. That's Kelly coughing at me. I gotta run home. So when y'all get home, I need you to take a look at Joshua, the 14th chapter of Joshua. But since I ain't got time to get you there, I'm gonna just jump you there. So the people cried and moaned. They actually started talking about stoning Joshua and Caleb. And they say, you know, Moses and Aaron, we don't want you leading us no more. We're going to have an election. We're going to get a new pastor. I mean, they tripped. And God said, fine. And God let them wander for another 40 years. In sight of the promise. Then we get to chapter 14 of Joshua. A whole generation of the people that cried and moaned and complained, they're dead. And now, the leader of Israel is one of the two people who said that we are well able. Joshua. Joshua is the one that takes Israel over the Jordan. He's the one that leads them around Jericho. He's the one that leads them into the conquest. By the time we get to the 14th chapter, they fought off all of their, well, they've had their major battles, and they are in the promised land. God says, all right, Joshua, I need you to distribute the land to the 12 tribes. While Joshua is giving people their portion, Caleb steps up.
That's right.
Caleb, let us go up at once.
That's right.
Caleb steps up. And this is kind of what he said. Y'all remember? When we went into the land, and your daddy said that we weren't able? I'm the one that said that we were. That was 45 years ago. But I am as yet strong today as I was 45 years ago. Now there's this mountain here, and there's the sons of Anak, the ones that they got scared of in the first place, are still up on top of that mountain. But I said 45 years ago, I said 40 years ago when I was 45, that we are well able. I'm now 85 years old. And I'm still able. So Joshua, I see everybody trying to get stuff down here in the lowland, because don't nobody want to have to deal with this mountain. Don't nobody have to want to confront those giants that scared your daddy away. But here's what I want you to do for me. Give me this mountain. My God.
Yes.
And it just might be that the God who has kept his promises to me for 40 years will keep this last promise. God has given you the ability to do something.
Come on, do it.
Stop looking at all the stuff you think you cannot do. And do the things you can. And do them well.
Hallelujah.
Whenever an obstacle presents itself, it is because there is something God has for you that the enemy does not want you to have. Look the obstacle in the face and say, I am well able. Because watch this. The only two people who were in the wilderness of Paran who actually made it into the promised land were the only two people who said, we are well able.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Whether or not, come on Chris, whether or not you make it into your promise, whether or not you actualize the limitless potential that is resident inside of you, it's not dependent on another move of God.
That's right.
God has already given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. God has already set things in motion and in place. Stop praying, asking God to do. Ask Holy Spirit to give you the boldness to move.
That's right.
Are you saying that God is not able? Absolutely not. God is able to do above all we For those of you who've never heard it and couldn't understand them, it says God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask or think, comma, according to the power that works in us. This next season, you got to believe in order to receive. Can you make that camera follow me for a minute? So we testified about all of the blessings that have fallen in the house in the last 30 days. But you had to apply for the job. You had to let them know that you wanted it. You had to be faithful in what they had given you to do. For them to look at you almost right after you got there and say, this is the person I want to replace me. You can't be lazy and think that the person that's leaving is going to give you their job. You can't go to work and just do enough to get by. I bet you get to work early every day. I bet when other people are looking at their clock saying, you know I'm supposed to be off in 5 minutes, you're sitting there saying, okay, I'm going to wrap this up and then I'll go. You never stopped believing. I know it because we work in the same place. And you can't walk past my office without sticking your head in the door talking about 6 figures, Bishop. I believe in God for 6 figures. So we work for a nonprofit organization, and our salaries are dependent upon contributions. And last year it didn't go so well. So the president called us into the conference room in the middle of the week. It wasn't Tuesday, it wasn't staff meeting. I knew that wasn't going to be good. He said, I'm going to have to ask y'all again, fix your face, Bishop, to take a pay cut. We're going to try to replace it as soon as we can. But we got to reduce everybody's salary by 10%. That was a year and a half. Why'd you have to say that? That was a year and a half. He and I looked across the conference table at each other. While everybody else, you could feel the tension in the room. We looked at each other. It's going to be all right. My God shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. And I promise you, we walked out of the conference room and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, 6 figures, Bishop. While they were taking money from us, he was still speaking. We're well able. Shonda, she went into this job saying, what did they hire you to do? Customer service. She went into the customer service job saying, I ain't doing this. That's what she said. Now, it wasn't the job that she wanted, but she did the job that she had well. While she spoke herself into another reality. You got to prove yourself on the first rung of the ladder if you ever expect to get to the top.
Plant that seed.
She talked herself into a department that did not exist before she got there. And then they created a position so that she could run the department she talked herself into.
That's why she been working so hard all week.
Because she got a mindset that says, I'm well able. Hallelujah. I could go straight across the board. It starts with what you believe about yourself.
Amen.
I love it when I get to hoop and holler and squall. Y'all should have been with me yesterday. Anthony will tell you.
All right.
Man.
All right.
I thought I was going to a brunch. The pastor said, no, you're going to speak in the sanctuary. Then he got on the organ and started playing them churchy chords. Yeah, that's all it takes for me, boy. I cut up, sewed it up, and cut it again. Yes, I did.
I believe believe it.
But my responsibility there is different than my responsibility here. When I go out as an exhorter. When I'm here, I'm your spiritual father. My responsibility is to teach you timely truths for victorious living. Here is the truth. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. Every eye closed, every head bowed. Father God, we thank you for this.